would be this one.
If I want to do a bugle, I'm going to get one of the other calls.
Yeah, I would go to, you know, this red closer call or this blue challenge call. Exactly.
Why do you call it a closer call?
I basically call it a closer because for baseball. Now, I was a baseball player growing up. I loved the game, you know, and I just equate it to that guy that comes in the bottom of the ninth inning and shuts down the opposing team and has his way with them. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, to me, this is just a dominating bugle call. You know, it could also be called the utility call because it can be blown for cow calling as well. But I just think it's that dominating, good quality bugling sound. You know, and the way I get that on the call versus cow calling is I'm just going to apply more consistent, firm tongue pressure on the reed as I blow it. Now, some people, you know, they like to make that growl sound that bulls will sometimes make when they go into a bugle like this. Okay? Again, like that sound I was doing earlier, that estrus sound, I'm just using my throat to get that sound. And then to get the bugle, I'm taking my voice and my throat out of it, and I'm going just into straight tongue and air pressure. So it's... Okay? And at the end, as you can hear, after I go into the high note, I'm adding my voice into it again. So I'm starting out with my voice, light tongue pressure, then I'm taking my voice out, adding tongue and air pressure without my voice, and then at the end, I'm adding my voice in again and taking my tongue off the reed. So it's... like that, okay? That to me doesn't sound perfect, but by adding what is referred to as a grunt tube, which I love this grunt tube by Bugle and Bull Game Calls. It's called the Bully Bull Grunt Tube. I've just found in 20 years of blowing various tubes that this one adds the perfect amount of resonance. The volume is fantastic and the tonal quality is spot on. But by doing exactly the same call I was just doing without the tube, by adding this amplification and resonance, here's what you get. Okay. Again, growl, high note, growl at the end. Okay. That's just a standard high-pitched bugle that I would do to locate a bull. If I went out there and they weren't bugling on their own, I would blow a call just like that to get a bull to answer back to me, and then I would move in close and use my cow calls to do that finishing work on him.
And with the bugle, does a bull elk make that loud a sound?
Oh, absolutely. If you're close to them, I mean, it literally will about blow your ears out if you're right by them. They're very loud about it. And, you know, that's one way I can differentiate between a real elk and a person, because typically a person is not going to have that elky volume that they have and that resonance that they have. You know, there's a lot of different sounds that bulls will make. They don't just make that standard high-pitched bugle. They'll also, you know, do chuckling and grunting. And to me, those two sounds add more personality and punctuation and more emotion into the call. Let me do a full bugle for you with a chuckle just to demonstrate that emotion I'm talking about. Okay. Now, when they chuckle, a lot of people mistakenly think that a bull will only do like 2 or 3 chuckles. But when they chuckle, it's a faster cadence like I was just doing. I've heard them frequently do it 10, 12 or more times. I think people mistake that with grunting, which is more of a deeper sound with a slower cadence to it. It's more like this. I'll do a full bugle and then grunts afterwards. More like that, okay? Another time when I'll hear bulls grunt versus chuckling is after they do what I call a lip ball, or us hunters call a lip ball or a scream. And I'm getting that by blowing the diaphragm in a similar manner, well, exactly the same manner as I would to bugle, but I'm just pursing my lips together and vibrating them like this. Okay? And if I add, again, a grunt tube to it to get amplification, it's going to give me this sound. Okay? That is a very aggressive, mature sound. You're not going to hear spikes and 2-year-old, 4- and 5-point bulls doing that. When you hear that sound, you may not know whether it's a 300 or a 350 or a 400-inch bull, but you know you have a contender and a player on your hands when you hear that lip ball sound. I would say the most aggressive bugling sound, as I alluded to earlier, would be a lip ball punctuated by either chuckling or grunting, like this. Or
how are you making the chuckle versus the lip ball, which is obvious difference, but then that and a grunt?
okay, the chuckling or the grunting, I'm doing it the same way, technique. I'm just changing the speed of it, the speed of it. And the way I'm doing that, I'll show it to you without this grunt tube so you can see what I'm doing. It's a 2-part call. The first part of the call, which is the high note, I'm pushing my tongue up against the latex very forcefully with a lot of air behind it, and that's as I'm blowing out. I'm thrusting my tongue against the latex like this. It's almost like a bark. That's basically the bark sound of an elk. The alarm sound is what that is right there. But to differentiate it from a bark, which you don't really want to do because it's an alarm sound out there, you're doing the second part of the call, and you get the second part of the call by taking your tongue off of the latex and sucking air back in. Now the dangerous part of that, as you can imagine with having this object in your mouth, is you could very easily suck it down your throat and gag, choke on it. So it does take practice. I won't kid. It takes some practice in getting used to. But again, without the grunt tube, just so you can see what it looks like. Okay, you've got the out part of the call. Okay, and then you're sucking back in. So, out part is with my tongue on the reed, forcefully pressing air across the latex. The sucking in part, I'm not putting any pressure on the latex. My tongue is actually off of the latex. Okay, and again, if you add the grunt tube, it gives it that proper tonal quality and amplification. And if you've been close to a bull when he does that, you actually hear both of those sounds. You hear that high note and you hear that sucking back in sound as well. It's a really cool sound that the bulls make. Yeah.
That's really cool. And the lip ball, you just pursed your lips and blew through your lips like a raspberry?
Yeah, exactly. I call it tight lip pressure. And then at the end, I'm taking my tongue off of the diaphragm, and then I'm stopping my lips from vibrating to get that at the end. Is the way I'm doing that.
Get a clear stop.
Exactly.
Good job. That's a good shot on him. That's a good bull. Yeah, baby! Yeah! All right!
That's how we do it.
Yeah, baby!
That was awesome. That was incredible.